I'm going to start with Klay. I'm going to start with Klay Thompson. He was jawing a lot. It looked like it started after he slapped down on the ball on Devin Booker 3-point attempt, and he just started yipping and yapping. And who knows what the issue is, what it may be. We know that Klay's got a lot of mental baggage from the last couple of years. Devin Booker, Klay Thompson, they're similar, right? Like just pure shooters. They're not exactly the same, but it's like Devin Booker to Klay might represent what he was before. And it's early. And it was just one of those frustrating games for him, I'm sure. Didn't shoot well. He was only, 1 for 8 from the field, missed all 5 of his threes. So, never really seen Klay that vocal before on the court in terms of being so angry. We've seen him like talk smack to people, but he kind of usually takes like the chill high road or something, or he's a little bit more unflappable. But this one just kept going and going and going. So who knows what was said? It could have just been regular trash talk, and maybe Klay got set off by something in particular. But it's one of those things, right? Like this journey that Klay has been on. The end of the story wasn't just getting back to the court last season. It wasn't just winning the title. There's team battles, like winning the finals. And then there's internal demons, internal battles that you fight with yourself. And, whether it's getting back to who he was before the injuries. I mean, here's the thing. If you all recall, Klay is known throughout the league and his reputation as one of the greatest shooters of all time, and just a pure shooter, doesn't have to dribble, all that stuff. But if you go back to 2019 and even like 2017, 18, the years leading up to his ACL injury, he was turning into an all-around player. Yes, defensively, we knew that, but his offensive game, it was developing. He was taking it more off the bounce. He was going to his pull-up more. He was always a good post-up player for his size. And he was doing that more. And his offensive game was melding into his prime years. And that was stolen from him, right? Like he wasn't just a shooter. He could do a lot more at that point. And that was all taken away. They always talk about, or people always talk about how an NBA player's prime years are the last couple of years of his 20s and the first couple of years of his 30s. That's when I think it was famously Michael Jordan in one of his books from the 90s, I think it was Rare Air, talking about how the prime is when your physical abilities and your mental abilities kind of like dovetail together, right? Your mental acumen, your knowledge of the game, your instincts, all that stuff. And for Klay, those precious years were taken away. So I don't know. I'm not going to play pop psychologist and get too much into it, but just as someone, as a regular human being who, if you all have experienced kind of like any kind of disappointment or any kind of loss or anything like that, and trying to recover from it or get back to maybe somewhere where you had been before, it's a struggle. It's a journey, and you'll have those weak moments where the frustration bubbles to the top. And this could have been one of them. Who knows? Maybe something about Devin Booker. I mean, Steve Kerr talked about how they've had like a bit of a rivalry over the years. Maybe something just about this game triggered him a little bit, and hopefully he moves on from it. That's it. That's all. Not going to get into this whole season long like, oh, Klay this, oh, Klay that. But just observing it coming out on the national stage, it was interesting, and it clearly took something out of the Warriors team and galvanized the Suns and the Suns crowd, right? Like there were so many technicals in this game, and sometimes technicals, Steve Kerr got one, Draymond got one, like back to back on the same play, reacting to the same non-call. Draymond went up for a layup and got bodied, ended up on the ground, and looked like a foul. But sometimes you use those technicals to hype up your team, but it didn't work this time. So I'll leave that at that. But, obviously everybody's going to be keeping an eye on Klay and seeing how he moves forward and progresses.